I look kind of bald right now. Well, okay, I don't look bald. But when I'm like this right here, where did she go? Hey y'all. I'm probably gonna take her down. I also missed, did you notice that I missed the couch? That's embarrassing. Bear back. Do you guys know who JoJo Siwa is? I mean, I'm sure all of you do. I don't know how she wears her hair up like that. I really don't know. We literally had a day dedicated to her in one of my streams recently. She's just such an interesting person. But I could barely wear my hair up for 2 seconds nowadays without getting a headache. How the fuck does she do that? It's just so painful. Also, this is gonna be my last video filmed with this hair. I'm finally dyeing my hair. It's been about over a year. It's been a year. Over a year. It's been over a year since I've dyed my hair. And so I'm probably, I don't think I'm gonna cut my hair because I'm too scared. But I'm gonna get a trim, get some of these dead ends off, these nasty little dead ends, and dye her. So I'm gonna be fresh, and that's about it. But anyways, I'm back, and I have more of your paranormal stories that I'm really excited to read. Still can't say paranormal, but this is from Kyla, and it's titled, My Name is Kyla, and everyone thinks I have a spirit attached to me. I don't disagree. Goodbye, son. I swear it's planned. Every time. Gonna get this bitch. I'm gonna start at the beginning, just because I have no idea where else to start. My parents' first house together. She kind of put it in like bullet points. Focus. Come on, you got this. She kind of put it in bullet points, so hopefully it'll be a little bit easier to read because some of you don't even use punctuation. Little fuckers. So I'm just gonna try to read it exactly how she laid it out. My parents' first house together. This was before I could walk or talk or do much of anything really. My mom was home alone and had just put me down for a nap. And because this was before everybody had cameras in their child's room, she would check in on me constantly. It was a short while later when my mom came back to find the crib empty. She obviously grew very panicked before she heard me happily babbling away under the crib, behind the skirt that hung down. I'm not saying this was related to the paranormal, but you try to explain how a baby, just learning how to roll over, could climb over a crib railing and get themselves safely to the floor. That's some paranormal activity too shit. Fast forward a bit to when I was a toddler and a psychic told my mom that we needed to move or that I would be hit by a car in front of the house. What? That escalated very quickly. 0 to 100. Obviously, my parents didn't want to risk it, so we moved when I was about 3. The house we moved into, that soon became my childhood nightmare, was built among other houses in a quiet suburb in 1998. Since we had it built, the house was new, nobody died in it, and as far as I know, the land it was built on wasn't haunted. And then she said the house on Windham. This happened when I was around 3. I don't remember if my mom was taking a nap with my younger brother at the time, or if she was just upstairs doing laundry, but either way, I was downstairs in the kitchen by myself. My dad was at work and wouldn't be home for several hours. According to my mom, she walked into the kitchen to find a puddle of milk on the floor by the fridge. Obviously, she thought it was me, so she asked me what happened. I told her the man did it. She thought I was lying because I didn't want to get in trouble and because there were no men in the house at the time. So she told me it was okay if I accidentally spilled the milk. I wasn't going to get in trouble, but I had to clean it up. I was adamant that I hadn't done it and that the man did it. My mom just went along with it and went to go get paper towels from the pantry. When she turned around though, she noticed there were muddy boot prints still wet on the floor leading from the garage straight into the kitchen. Her first thought wasn't that it was paranormal. But when she asked me about them, I told her the man made the boot prints as well, and she grew a tad bit alarmed. Just a tad. Not to mention that nobody who lived in the house owned a pair of work boots. Of course a man could have broken in, but who walks into a house, spills milk, leaves mud everywhere, and seemingly vanishes into thin air? There were no prints that led away from the kitchen. So it's like the boot prints walked in from the garage and then they just disappeared in thin air. What the fuck? This is already such a crazy story and I just started and we have so much more to go. I'm not sure how old I was when this happened, but it stuck with me for at least 15 years. The way my room was set up at the time, I could see out my bedroom door and down the stairs from my bed. I had woken up sometime in the night. The house was quiet. Everyone was asleep and I happened to glance out into the hallway. I saw a lady in a white sleeping gown at the landing at the bottom of the first set of steps. She was just floating there, facing the door, and seemed to have no idea that I was watching her. I don't remember being scared of her, just startled that she was there. Eventually I fell back asleep. How? I didn't tell anybody what I saw for years, and even then I was sure they'd simply brush it off as me dreaming. Since then though, I started noticing that whenever I walked up the stairs, I'd get goosebumps everywhere and the hair on the back of my neck would stand straight up. My breath would become short and I'd feel on the verge of a panic attack. I would just run up the rest of the stairs, and the second I got into my room, I felt fine. My brothers have felt the same thing, and though it doesn't happen often, I will occasionally get the feeling now, even after we moved. This one isn't anything terrifying, but when I was 7 or 8, I joined a local soccer team, and my mom bought the photo package that came with the wallet-sized pictures. The one of the team and the 8x10 individual photo. In my parents' room, they had a wardrobe TV stand thing, with the doors with the TV, and then it had a dresser underneath. On top of the stand, they put the framed 8x10 individual picture of me in my soccer uniform. Every once in a while, when we would eventually notice it, the picture would have turned a couple degrees to the right, so it was no longer facing out to the room, but more towards the wall. My mom would always put it back, and it would always end up turning a few days or months later. She said it would move because of the vibrations from people walking around the house. Then when my brother joined the soccer team the next year, she put his framed 8x10 picture on the other corner of the same TV stand. His never moved. If it were the vibrations from people walking around, wouldn't the frame with his picture move as well? I thought this was weird. My dad would always come into mine and my brother's rooms before he left for work, just to check on us. He woke up around 4 every single morning. This will be important in a minute. Around the same time that the picture started moving, my dad built me a loft bed. It was great, except that whenever I actually slept in it, my dad would come in to check on me in the morning and he would find me with my head at the foot of the bed when he knew for a fact that I fell asleep with my head on the pillow by the wall. He'd always lift me up and flip me back around so I was sleeping the right way. That's so fucking weird. I've done that though in my sleep, where I kind of twist around my bed. It's not even necessarily sleepwalking, but like, I think while I'm asleep, subconsciously, I try to get comfortable or something and I kind of flip my body. It was only ever in the loft bed. This isn't that creepy, but considering he went to bed around 11, checked on us, then woke up at 4 and checked on us first thing when he woke up, it would mean that I turned around in my bed anywhere from the witching hour to the devil's hour. Maybe that's just a coincidence. This one gives me goosebumps every time I tell the story. It creeps me the fuck out and I still have no explanation for it. I think it was the year before we moved out of the Wyndham house for good. It was December. My parents took my brothers and me to see some Christmas lights and get hot chocolate and just spend some family time together during the holidays. My cousin that lived with us at the time met up with us after work and walked around with us and another family. When my brother and I left, we left with my cousin in her car and my parents were going to leave in a bit, staying to say goodbye to their friends. When we got back to the house, it was just the 4 of us. A friend was supposed to come over that night, so we were waiting at the top of the stairs, just talking in front of my room. From there, we could see into the foyer in the living room. We were all just talking at a normal volume, and out of nowhere, we hear this loud as fuck whistle coming from the foyer. The whistle was like if you put 2 fingers in your mouth and did a 2-note type thing. I don't know how to describe it. I think I know what you're talking about. I can't do it, but it's like the but actually whistling. Obviously, we all freaked out because what the actual fuck? And at first we kind of just looked at each other in disbelief, silently asking each other if that seriously just happened. We all checked our phones to make sure it wasn't a notification or something. It wasn't. And we checked to see if any of the TVs were on. They weren't. And then I'm not sure why, but we all ran downstairs and grabbed knives in the kitchen as if a knife was gonna stop a ghost. We searched the entire house, even the basement and the garage, and there was nobody there. We called my parents to make sure they weren't fucking with us, but they hadn't even left yet. Fuck that. We ended up waiting for our friend outside on the front porch in the freezing cold with weapons. The neighbors probably thought we were insane. It's okay, my neighbors think I'm a psychopath. This is just some random stuff that happened. My parents have heard pots and pans and the cupboard doors banging in the kitchen while me and my brother were at my grandma's for the weekend. The animals never liked our basement. The dogs would growl down the stairs and the cow would always stare at stuff that we couldn't see. And I always got a bad feeling when walking by the basement door. We've had multiple Christmas presents go missing from the attic and from the basement. The mirror in our hallway fell from the wall 2 years in a row and only on Halloween. I've had pictures taken of me with a disposable camera where the film came out all screwed up, but only on the pictures of me, and it looked like I was surrounded by fire. That's so creepy. Wait, I want to see them. My mom's friend witnessed a little boy in overalls in our downstairs bathroom. She said he was a trickster spirit and liked to play jokes on us. What the fuck? And then she said, I just thought of this, but the Christmas presents my parents couldn't find were always children toys and games. When I was moving my furniture in my room so I could paint, I found a child-sized handprint and dust on the wall behind my desk. No. I've had my hair pulled while making smoothies. One time I woke up for school and scared the shit out of myself when I saw a pile of white clothes on my desk that looked like a figure. So I took a picture of it and texted it to my brother because I thought it was funny. But then he noticed what looked like a little boy sitting in the desk chair. I'm good. We're okay. Fuck! We've all woken up with unexplained scratches and bruises. One time my name was whispered in my ear so loud that it woke me up from a dead sleep. I thought it was my mom telling me to wake up for school, but nobody was in my room with me. My camera ran out of space. I don't know where I was. I've seen things out of the corner of my eye that never actually seemed to be there. I'm sure I'm forgetting something. We eventually just started calling the spirit Bob because shit happens so often. No one ever wanted to stay the night at my house because they were scared. I played the Ouija board in my house and probably didn't follow the rules, but I don't remember anything insane ever happening. We sold the Wyndham house in January of 2016. The pictures the renter took were full of orbs. Maybe it's just the shitty camera or shitty photography skills, or maybe it's just dust. I'll leave you to interpret. So I'll put some of the pictures. I mean, and the first one, my eye immediately went to the orb in the window. I feel like the other ones, I don't know. I'm really bad at interpreting them. They don't look like dust particles to me though, but I'll let you guys decide. Let me know what you guys think. Now to the house we currently live in. This happened a bit after we moved in. My cousin moved with us and our room was in the basement. The way we had it set up, her bed was next to the door wall that led to the backyard, and my bed was next to hers with a nightstand in between. So one night we were dead asleep and we had the TV on but muted. We just used it for light. And I woke up to the loudest fucking growl I've ever heard at 3 a.m. I only know it was 3 a.m. because I looked at my phone when I woke up and I tweeted about it. It was so guttural and animalistic. There was no way it came from anything I knew existed. We had 2 dogs at the time, but they were 2 floors up in my parents' bedroom, and whatever made the noise was definitely not a dog. But anyways, I woke up and thought for half a second that I dreamt it, except my cousin turned around in her bed to face me seconds later, and her eyes were as wide as saucers, and she looked scared as hell. No. I asked her if she heard it, and obviously she did, but she heard it from the garage, while I heard it from the direction of the door wall. I didn't tell her that at the time, but she was already on the verge of crying. Oh my god. They heard, like, it's like 2 separate growls, or like, I don't know, maybe it's just around them, maybe this thing is just as big, I don't know. My cousin started freaking out and FaceTimed my brother upstairs and asked him to go wake up our other brother, or my other brother, it's her cousin. And the wasp is back, of course. Oh my god, that thing is fucking wait, it's the one from, it's the old one. It's the old wasp. So there was a black wasp that would always come around before, and then that one left for a little bit and it was a yellow one, but it's the black one. Oh my god. Yeah, because he's trying to get inside. This bitch loves me. He loves trying to come inside, but you're not coming in. Ever. Sorry. She asked if they heard it and they didn't. We were in disbelief because to us, it sounded like it was loud enough to wake up the entire house. Maybe it could have been an animal, but I live in the lower peninsula of Michigan. There's nothing where I live that'd be able to make the sound we heard. My cousin moved out into an apartment with a friend shortly after this. I'd be like, bad bitch as well. I feel her. My youngest brother bought a sketchy pendulum. I still don't think I know how to say that. Pendulum. Pendulum. My youngest brother bought a sketchy pendulum crystal a couple months ago, and the first time he used it, it started doing some weird shit. Before it broke, we went on vacation last month. He had been using Snapchat filters and something else would always come up with the try a friend ones. Since then, I've given him multiple rosaries. We're not religious at all. They were left behind when we bought the house, and I found them in the basement. I'm not sure what it means when somebody leaves the rosaries behind, but they worked. And he has them in his closet. He hasn't had anything show up in his Snapchat since. I have you guys tell me all the time to try to use the Snapchat filters. Does that shit really work? I just can't imagine that it would be like, oh, yep, there's someone behind you. You can't see him, but we can. This might have been interference or some shit, but like the whistle fuckery, it gives me chills every time I think about it. I was at home making dinner and my youngest brother called me on his way home from work to vent about how shitty people are. Halfway through the phone conversation, I started to hear laughing, but I didn't think anything of it because I thought my brother had his friend from work in his car and was gonna drop her off or something. I contemplated asking if she was in the car, but I thought I'd sound stupid if she was since the call was over the car's Bluetooth. When he eventually got home, all of us sat down for dinner. I asked him if Marissa was with him in the car when he called because I heard her laughing during the conversation. Turns out not only was he alone in the car, but he thought I was the one laughing. He could hear it too. Fuck this story. No idea if this is related, but it's creepy as hell. Last month I had a dream that started where my family was going to some Mexican restaurant, but my mom changed her mind at the last minute. So her, my dad, and my brother went somewhere else, but I really wanted tacos. So me, my youngest brother, and my rabbit went to the Mexican restaurant. Somehow we ended up driving in different cars to a doctor's appointment whose office was at a gas station apparently for my brother's shoulder. My brother forgot something though, so he had to turn around and I called him to ask what the fuck he was doing. We were talking on the phone and because he had to turn around, you are so loud. I was trying to ignore how loud they are. They're so, I cannot wait to leave these fucking elephants. We were talking on the phone and because he had to turn around, I got to the gas station first and parked to wait for him. Then out of the blue, my brother says they're here, really creepy like, and hangs up. My alarm went off exactly at that moment and I woke up super creeped out and my skin was crawling and I felt like somebody was watching me the entire day. I'm 23 and I have to sleep with a TV or a small light on because of this shit. But at least now the little things like banging on the wall or waking up with bruises that weren't there the night before are only slightly alarming. And that's the end of, I can't believe, like you guys go through the scariest shit. I know that I've had my fair share of stories, especially as of recently. I've had a lot of stuff happening. I guess before more so than right now, but I don't know. It just sounds crazier, I guess, when I read your guys' stories versus having my own stories. Just knowing you guys go through this stuff as well, and some of yours are way more extreme than mine. That's the scariest part. I think I'm actually just gonna read that one. I mean, I've been recording for 40 minutes, so I can't imagine that this is gonna be a short video. I'm going to film another one of these videos very soon so I can read a bunch of your guys' stories, but next week I'm only gonna have 2 uploads because I moved, so I didn't really want to be stressed and think about uploading 4 videos that week. I only have 2 videos planned, but I will be streaming almost every single night, or I'm going to try to. There's gonna be a couple days where I take a break so I can get settled in and everything like that, and I need to pack. But I will have more of these coming very soon, I promise. But I hope you guys enjoyed. If you have any other stories you would like to send me, please send them to me. I will have the email written down below, and I will see you in the next one. Bye. I don't know how I've done 4 videos consistently and streamed every night and not completely lost my voice, because you guys know how bad my voice is, how bad it is. You guys know I lose my voice all the fucking time, or just get really raspy, and I haven't lost her yet, so maybe I'm immune now to losing my voice. I don't know, I just talk way too fucking much. See ya.